the grind. We working at 9 to 5, trying to stay alive. From Monday and Tuesday, it's we time for break way. Well, if you wait all year, so much of the best. Spread your hands and let go. Spread your hand in the air, everybody. Spread your hands and let go. Hand in the air, sing with me, everybody know. Do your thing, spread your wings. Do your thing, spread your wings. Do your thing, do your thing, spread your wings. Do your thing. I say it's about time, drop it on the white line. All in the night time, until the sunshine. From Sunday to Sunday, setting all day. Somebody tell me in phase 3 it looked like murderers and killers for hire come open back after phase 3 because murder's spiking again. Somebody wrote me asking, Philip, could you call the government and find out at what phase Wassa will be opening? Plenty people have no water. We touching on that tonight. And you know the numbers just go high when it's Bacchanal and lick sharing. Well, tonight, I bring my boa, I bring my bull pistol. It's cat piss and pepper. Call them out. Share the video. We going live. We setting all day. If you don't tell me where, so much of the best. Spread your hands and let go. Spread your hand in the air, everybody. Spread your hands and let go. Hand in the air. Whoa, hey. Well, we do it, 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 we do it again. Well, we move it, 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 we move it again. Jump and spread out the hand and move like the mad thing, yeah. Throw your shots away, throw your shots away. Okay, do it, we 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 do it again. Well, we move it, 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 we move it again. Jump and spread out your hand and move like the mad thing, yeah. Throw your shots away, throw your shots away. It's on time, we hustling on the grind. We working at 9 to 5, trying to stay alive. From Monday and Tuesday, it's we time for break way. When you wait all year, so much of the best. Spread your hands and let go. Spread your hand in the air, everybody. Spread your hands and let go. I share it with you, I hope you share it. Hand in the air, whoa, yeah. Gonna be do it, we do it again. Gonna be move it, we move it, we move it again. Gonna be jump and spread out the hand and go like the mad thing, yeah. Throw your shots away, throw your shots away. Come on in, do it, we 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 do it. Share the video, share the video. Hey Roxanne, oh, nice to see you.
Oh, girl.
Jerry Simon,
Oh,
boy.
yeah. Hey,
Take the lane.
take it slow. Show them who in control. Ah. Oh, my sugar. Careful what you're doing. Careful how you're living, baby. This is not a movie. Live your life, but you could take it slow. Take it slow. Oh.
Let me jump in now, man. Let me jump in. All right. Let me touch base on all of the important things and get them out of the way, right? So we'll get them out of the way. It is Sunday night. Today is Sunday, right? Since this coronavirus lockdown stupidness start, every day is day to me, you know. We work every day, but every day is a day. So, Sunday. Alright. Melissa Serupan said, tune, careful. I don't know what she mean by that, but we rock and roll Trinbago. Last night's show, to the guests, somebody messaged me and said, Philip, you are coming across like a prime minister. And I said, what are you supposed to do with that? That sounds like an insult. This Trinidad, you know. I got a video today of one of the past prime ministers. Anyway, I'm not here to cast aspersions. I don't pour the drink in nobody's glass. One of our members had again, I can't even share that. Only put me that by here, you know. Because my biggest strength is my ability to take hits and hit back. Anyway, yeah. So, alright. Let's deal with some of the stuff that we should get out of the way. Thank people for this. This is, anyway, they go. they go hear about it and they go come and find it and they go read up on it and you heard it first. There are things that happen in a life that are beyond your control. Things that happen. I mean, I had to tell a guy who messaged me to tell me, like, I lose a member of the party and he find her funny. I said, partner, your father leave your mother when you was 9 years old and you still grow up big? So it turned out people is leave thing. Look, Ganga Singh leave UNC today. And Suru Drambachan, Tim Gopi Singh, voters, members, all of that leaving the UNC. The UNC is a sinking ship. I want to tell you something. Rats leaving the UNC right now. Anybody that climbing onto the UNC, you had to be dotish. You had to be dotish. Even the people who paid to talk for the UNC that be messaging me and saying, boss, we are on shit. We are on that bullshit. Kamala sink the whole party. And all that's still going for the UNC. And Kamala, I want you to hear me, girl. I want you to hear me. I want you to hear me. You're not a leader. You're not a leader. You benefited from a lot. You had 2010 to 2015. You did nothing. A couple of your ministers were functional and they did some work. But ultimately, having the same Chinese that the UNC and the COP bash for Manning come and build a Cuba hospital for is not a thing to pat on your back. The same people who build the PNM edifices. So, yeah. Interruption. Fishermen friends of the sea are deeply concerned that another oil spill is occurring tonight, Sunday, 7th June 2020 at the Heritage Refinery Tank Farm in Point Fortin. The police have cordoned off the area. Fishermen friends of the sea fully disapprove of the method of testing the tanks by loading them with water when property damage could occur if a rupture happens. Please, nobody dial my phone now. This is reckless conduct contrary to public interest. Furthermore, if it appears from the videos circulating on social media and from eyewitness reports that these tanks that were filled with water also contained hydrocarbons. This water-oil mixture is flowing into the Gulf of Paria, polluting our marine food basket. The Minister of Energy must immediately make public the volume and nature of oil that is being spilled. Fishermen friends of the sea call on the Institute of Marine Affairs, IMA, to respond urgently and to track the movement of this oil, which will move in a clockwise, anti-clockwise gyre in the Gulf of Paria and may wash onto our shores as occurred in Labre in 2013. Depending on the ocean current, this oil may also wash onto Venezuelan shores as occurred in the 2017 Tank 70 rupture. The Minister of National Security should also have by now sent warnings to mariners and fishers, both local and Venezuelan, as oil is invisible in the night and will destroy nets if it washes onto it. Have booms and other equipment been placed to contain this oil spill? Has the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan, NOSCP, been activated? Why this silence from our government? On the eve of World Oceans Day, Monday, June 8, 2020, we remind our government that every drop of hydrocarbon spilled has an everlasting impact on our health and marine ecosystem. That's from Gary Aboud, Secretary General of Fishermen Friends of the Sea. A fellow by the name of Lyndon Mack, who treats politics like how girls play a game. I have had 3 sisters. And growing up in a home with 3 sisters, you learn girls play games like hopscotch and what you call that game girls play with the ball and the jacks? Jacks? That's jacks. Anyway, and girls play a game called elastic, where you jump in, you jump out, jump in, stamp, out, stamp. I know I play all these games. I grew up in a house with girls. Lyndon Mack is a fellow, since the pep form, never a couple of them, you know, that buzz like flies. We in today, we out tomorrow. We going with you, Phil. We going with Charlie. We going with Mary. We there with Harry. And you're sending me messages when you're in trouble, looking for help from me. I want to tell people this. My partner, Collie, I know you're listening. You send me a message tonight and tell me, mend fences with who giving trouble. Collie, I need to be me. I need to be me. And I want to say this to Trinidad and Tobago. The Progressive Empowerment Party is a movement for change. It is not a line. It is not a fete. It is not an orgy. We're not in this looking for girls. We're not in this looking for boys. We're not in this looking for friends. We're trying to fix the country. If you look at me and you look at my videos, you will realize that what we are focused on continuously is the development of the party and fixing the country. While other people minding our business, we minding the store. While other people have Phillip to study, Phillip, and a man had to say today, there's only one politician dealing with the issues that are affecting Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. Hopefully the rest of them will get it. Hopefully the voters will and send a message. Hopefully the voters will and send a message. Listen, they're choking on PEP water policy. And I'm not stopping. I'm going to go in every river. I'm going to go at every dam. I'm going to go in every reservoir and expose the failure of 58 years of PNM, UNC, flip-flop musical chairs nonsense that has us paying to desalinate seawater while washing 100,000 times the water we need out to sea. And anybody who could challenge that point, I fold up and I done and I gone. If you could prove to me that there was a justifiable reason for us to develop a water management policy that washes all of our fresh water to the sea, if you could show me a sensible, rational reason based on science, not magic, not obeah, not voodoo, if you could show me, somebody says stay far from Lyndon Mark sending UNC. Listen, if Lyndon Mark need $20 for a taxi, he's calm, he just go. I don't have these people to study. He just sent me a message. If politicians stand with him, partner, I agree with you, don't wear no mask. This is the problem we have. You're right, don't wear no mask. You're wrong to push yourself in the people bank when the people bank policy is no mask, no service. So this is the conundrum. You want to go in the people bank, put on your mask. You don't want to wear your mask, don't go in the people bank. Don't go in the bank and yell like an ass. When the police come and they explain to you that you cannot go in the bank without a mask, and you get like an ass, there is a law against getting like an ass in public. When they arrest you for that, don't come crying looking like you're some kind of martyr. That is a bullshit stunt. Go and lead a protest. Go and lead a march outside the banks, placard. But you going in the people bank with no mask. This is the part of the story I hear. And that you misbehave when the police talking to you. Now, I want to say this. I am a champion of human rights and freedoms. But we're still not sure what's going on with coronavirus. Brazil burying people. I watched a picture last night. You could see the graveyard, the holes they dig in to bury bodies. They cross, I hear we at 1 million. You could see Brazil graveyards from space. And let me talk about the incompetent bag of buffoons, this clunker led by Lionel in chief, Stuart Young. I'll come back to what I was talking about, I ain't gonna forget. But we gone down this road, so let me go. Stuart Young, close the freaking borders. Jason Kelshaw, and anybody seeing this video, clip this piece and send it for Mr. Jason Kelshaw, who tried to self-promote when they held the cocaine in the ship and made it sound like a movie. They roll onto the deck and dive and duck and shots fired and all this nonsense. Mr. Kelshaw, you have one work. One. It's in the name of the organization you work for. The Coast Guard. Guard the freaking coast. Trinidad is a dot in the ocean, a rock in the sea. If the medals that they pin on your jacket, left over from your father, too heavy, and tilting you forward that you can't see, hire somebody else to look out. To look and see, hey, look about.
Because Venezuelans coming into this country and walking ashore with donkey, mule, and cow, and nothing stopping them. So if you can't do the work, Jason, and you're here to stunt, I strongly suggest put in your retirement, collect your pension, and let somebody who could do the freaking job do the job now. Because before, when it was only cocaine and it was only guns, the guns mostly killing black people, and in Trinidad and Tobago we prove black lives don't matter. Because if it was killing white people and Syrian people and rich people, no guns coming in the country. But the 500 murders black. So tell me, I don't know. When it was only guns and drugs, it was okay, but now it's coronavirus. South America, right now, in this world, Kaz we will deal with the church and the 60-minute thing. Remind me, South America spiking, and I am calling on the Coast Guard. Take all 9 boats, anchor them between Trinidad and South America. Sink anything that cross the international line between Trinidad and South America. Protect the country. Guard the coast. Tell them no, our borders are closed. If you cross the line, we will have to sink you. If you are in distress, turn around, aim to the southern mainland. We will radio your Coast Guard to come for you. It is 7 miles. It's not that far. It doesn't take rocket science. Stop the flow of illegal aliens from South America into Trinidad. Mr. Kelshaw, the country is looking at you, especially after you put yourself on the map. Jumping over and swinging and ducking and rolling and all of that shit. Just guard the coast first. That's what we want. We don't need you to stunt. We don't need the bacchanal. We don't need any WhatsApp threads. Bigging up yourself. You have a very serious position. And do it. Or fire the work and talk. Your choice. Really. Because I'm still trying to understand how a country this tiny could spend the billions of dollars that we spend, $9 billion we spend every year on national security, and something as simple as guarding the coast, we still can't do yet. Mr. Kelshaw, seriously, the buck stops with you. And if you cannot do the job, fire the work. Because I'm telling you, a real government would have evaluated you and the entire leadership of the Coast Guard. And I'm not blaming, in no way, I'm not blaming the rank and file servicemen in any way. Because I think that the problem with the Coast Guard is the leadership. And I think that the problem with the Coast Guard is that it has been used and used again so that PNM Finances, who are the commission agents for ships from Australia and China and Japan, to use the Coast Guard to spend billions of dollars to buy boats we don't need to do jobs that they don't do. So again, Mr. Kelshaw, and I'm calling on all of Trinidad and Tobago. His name is Jason Kelshaw. I don't know if he's commander, admiral, supreme lord of the sea, because all we ever have is Kelshaws. So it seems like it's a what you call it, when one king dead, the next king rises. So I don't know if it's because you have to have your name Kelshaw to make it to the top. But Mr. Kelshaw, Jason Kelshaw, do the work or step down, because the rank and file servicemen of the Coast Guard tired looking like incompetent fools when the leadership of the organization cannot seem to do the job. So I think we were clear. And I would like everyone to call Devant Maraj. If you have Jason, he might be a command. If you have Jason Kelshaw's number, publish it so people could WhatsApp him, text him, email him, Facebook him. Brother, you're putting everybody, mother, father, and child at risk by allowing South Americans to walk onto this country. We want the country borders closed. We want it closed. We will deal with Rowley and Delcy and the 7 imaginary people who are on the plane with her, Snuffleupagus, Big Bird, Grover. We will deal with them. We will deal with him, and unfortunately, like our rising debt to GDP that these jackasses are ruining. I mean, there's so much to fix. It's a dynasty, Chester. They should call it the Kelshall Guard. And I want to know why. Is it that we cannot make any other Coast Guardsman rise to the rank? Or if you join the Coast Guard and you have hopes of being an admiral, deed-poll change your name to Kelshall. Maybe we just can't afford the guy who just come and scratch off the name on the door that says Commander Kelshall. And I'm that upset. I'm that upset. Because Trinidad and Tobago has been ruined by failures in high public office. And the Coast Guard has failed us. They have found $600 million worth of cocaine on Moolus Island. Police was involved in that transaction. Now, did that cocaine swim here? The cocaine that just went, Sawyer Chunks, to wherever it went, did it swim here? The cocaine that went to Norfolk, Virginia, the cocaine that went to Spain, the cocaine that went to Canada, the cocaine that went to Vietnam. Sorry about that, I wanted to try and kill a mosquito. You see the size of this thing, like a musky foot. But I didn't get it, sorry. It's not right. It's not right for a country this small. It's not right for a country this small. What's Trinidad in square miles? I sure want all you know. 1,981 square miles. 1,981 square miles. They have a man in Jefferson Air Base in New York or somewhere in America. One man, he had the contract to mow the lawn, and the lawn in that air base bigger than the whole country. Listen, and I'm saying this again. We have a tag team relay of people that pass the buck and pass the blame. Coast Guard, I catch it in the water. Police, I catch it on the land. Immigration, I catch it in the suitcase. Oh Christ, man. When they catch it, the man in charge of the locker room who is responsible for the evidence, the rats eat it, the pigeon take it, snake swallow it. Listen, we cannot continue running this country like a deliberate joke. And it is run like a deliberate joke. Now I know that the way to advance yourself in Trinidad and Tobago is to link up, make friends, bounce up people in all them small fat and clink glass and pretend yes people take selfie together. That will never be my style. And I know that sounds like a contradiction based on what I did at Commissioner Griffith's party for Christmas. But that was deliberate to see what kind of old talk we will get. Not just outside, inside the party. But that's our next thing. That's our next thing. We've made billionaires of people in this country in ways that cannot be explained. The Scott drug report since the 80s have said Trinidad and Tobago is a narcotic pipeline. The DEA has said that more marine craft crossed between the South American mainland and Trinidad and Tobago at night than were involved in Normandy invasion. So if that is being said about this country and we have a Coast Guard, we're spending $9 billion a year on national security, Christ on a cracker, we can't get the army on the land and the Coast Guard in the sea like Game of Thrones and say nobody passes for a while. Can't we? How about this? How about we pick up the phone and we call America? Because this is what I would do. Sovereignty my ass. I would call America and say, listen, we are going to establish something called the Maritime Security Wall that will stop the drug trade. Yes, the drug trade that neither Kamla, nor Rowley, nor Manning, nor Pandey, nor anybody was ever able to arrest. I would like to create a Maritime Security Wall, and we would like to borrow some of your Coast Guard cutters and Navy ships to just blockade Trinidad and Tobago from anywhere else for the next 6 months while we establish the Maritime Security Wall. Call Trump. Call Trump and say we don't want no more illegal imports from Venezuela. We don't want no more illegal imports from South America. We don't want no more illegal refugees boarding our country. We have 250,000 illegal aliens in the country right now. There are people living in the bush, living on farms. Even that is becoming a national security nightmare. But Lionel in chief, his whole job now is keeping track of all his lies. And while we distracted, PNM thieving thing by chunk. The Centeno farm, Seed Box Man and the rest of the crew. Where is this Centeno farm that they thief? Listen, y'all messaging me. I know people is messaging me. Phil boy, I wish I was brave like you, but I have a HDC house, boy, and I have about 20 more payments, and Rowley and them could throw me out. So we're gonna share the tank rupture. Let's talk about other things. People leave everything, especially volunteer organizations like the Progressive Empowerment Party. What I find remarkable about the handful, the maxi-taxi of people who have left so far, over the 4 years the party exists, they can't seem to get me and PEP off their minds. There are people who taught in for years that was in the party for months. Last night, Cora Pantin had Tony Defoe on her show. And 2,000 people watched the show. 1,000 of them was PEP members. 1,000 comments, 900 was PEP members defending the party. So I want to tell everybody, I want to say this clear, and I've resisted speaking on Anthony Defoe. I have resisted saying anything at all. I think that it is self-evident. If somebody leave a party today that they have been a leadership member of, that has as its policy, we're not joining with no other party. If you leave the party and you join one of those other parties, it brings your integrity into question. Put it another way. If you've done 25 videos since you've been in the PEP, and every one of those videos you go at lengths to highlight the reality of all of our problems are directly linked to the PNM and the UNC, and then you leave the PEP to join the UNC, it brings your integrity into question. But I honestly think, I honestly believe, and the reason I have resisted saying anything, because you know me, and I know Tony knows me. And I know Tony knows that if I wanted to, I could, with my words, destroy him. He knows that. I have destroyed entire political parties. AJ Khan and whatever their name was gassing up themselves for about 2 weeks until I said, that's it. I did a video called Gloves Off. And after that, Dilworth Braffett, the man behind AJ Khan, was still posting on Facebook, but couldn't get 1 like and 2 shares. Not even him was liking and sharing his stuff. Now, Ali G from New York City, and I'm calling their names because you're all seeing them. I may be giving them a little oxygen tonight because plenty people don't know them or that they exist. Left the PEP and still in PEP business. And I don't know why. Still have Phillip to study. And I don't know why. She doesn't live in Trinidad and Tobago. She's left here. She has a green card. She's in Trumpland. And you was helping the PEP and we were happy. You decided to leave. Okay. How come you're still in PEP business? I want to come back to Anthony Defoe. I'm not talking about the small rats. Because to give them oxygen is all they want. And I realize that's what they want. What they want is to talk about me. So I respond, so I send the 100,000 people that follow me to see what they're about. And I don't want to be doing that. I know I said Cora Pantin and Tony Defoe, so I can send some views to the show. But I need to say this to both Cora Pantin and to Anthony Defoe. The only purpose for that show last night was to try and get Couture into the PEP, and that's not fair. Because Rowley and his whole PNM in disarray right now, call them now. Why not going inside their business? Kamala can't even hold her ship together right now. She leaking people. Leaking people. You're not going to interfere with that. Between the two of them and their parties, they cost the country $100 million a year. The Progressive Empowerment Party, we're not in any government office yet. So why are we your full attention? Why? Strike that. Doesn't matter. I get the point that I am must-see TV. If you call my name, people come to see what you know. They have a fella named Winston Ragu. His have a show is the All Phillip show. If he passed me on the road and I didn't look like I was smiling, he do a video. I just passed Phillip on the road and it didn't look like he was smiling. I think he vexed with me. And okay, I get it. Your audience want bacchanal, and you're giving them bacchanal. Alright, I get it. I get that I am in public life so that my name could be used to help the intellectually challenged and the otherwise bankrupt from getting any value to their lives. Because, and I keep saying, all of these people who doing these live videos for you that leading you all over the place, where are they leading you come election day? Where they leading you come election morning? Where are you sending you? And he corralling you to sell you to the UNC so he could get some more WASA contracts. Because that's a game. That's a game. Scratch that. Forget that. You should know the game by now. Anthony Defoe knows me and I know Anthony Defoe. And I'm a very strong man. And I want to say this. It was not my first choice that Anthony leave this party. And I am dismayed by it. But at some point, you have to, in every relationship in life, at some point when something gets too toxic, too high maintenance, it's too distracting, you get to tell the person, wherever you want to do, you do that. Leave, stay, come, go, and I've had to say that to people in this party. Anybody that's in this, for shits and giggles, who thinks that this is a gumdrop jelly bean party, there are exits. You will hear them quote me. There are exits on every floor. I will forever be the greatest supporter of freedom of political choice. You are following Philip Edward Alexander today. But if tomorrow you want to follow somebody else, that is your constitutional right. And while I may not like how Anthony Defoe went about it, I will fight for his right to do it. So Tony, you don't have to worry about me, brother. Even though you're provoking me. My son tell me, lion don't turn around for every barking dog. I don't think you're a barking dog. I think you're bewitched. I honestly think you're bewitched. I have seen you ruin yourself. I watched you ruin your life, Anthony Defoe. I've said to you, over the course of months, you are destroying your life. Everything mash up. Everything, your family life, your job, your business boss. Now you fall out with Pep and the only common thread is one insane little psycho. And brother, whatever she doing for you, don't get me wrong, it looked like, because in Trinidad they were saying, what she give him to rub, he eat. And I feel maybe you're bewitched. Because you're a bright guy otherwise. I watched a piece of the Cora Pantin show last night. After our show that dealt with serious international issues and a local perspective and had a massive audience. By the end of the show, we had crossed 25,000 views. So I knew it was successful. 3 hours and we went at it. And I'm saying to you, that's the purpose of this party. So my purpose is not to get into these things, but I'm fed up of people sending me little provocations that this girl is doing, making fake page for the 200 followers, and when you check the 200 followers, 100 is her fake profile. I mean, come on. You disconnect the man from the party. You disconnect him from his family. You disconnect him from all his friends. He's yours. Go and play. You want some money to buy a Monopoly? A pack of cards? Some drafts? We need. Because stop interfering with Pep. You say all you go on UNC. Focus. Focus on Kamala. Focus on the policies. All you say, vote policy. Name one UNC policy. That's not a rehashed, repackaged Pep policy. Ronaldo Rolex. If you need my address to come and help me run my show, Send me a private message. I will give it to you now. I do this every single day. And I can use all the assistance. Don't guide my hand long distance, friend. And I need to say this and get it clear. The door that Tony walked out of is open for Tony to come back. He'll never be anything like a deputy political leader in the party again. Because those positions are based on trust. And I need to say that there have been problems like in every family. They say PNM just tell you, don't air the dirty laundry. Plenty dirty laundry going on in PNM. Laurel Lizama leasing right now ain't getting nod because Louis Leasing walk out of PNM because of Rowley, and Louis Leasing is a founding member of the People's National Movement, a contributing member for life. Tony Defoe in the PEP 2 years now. Focus on that. Only missing, that's a big story. Only studying Phillip, because political sexiness, we bring the numbers. We bring the numbers. We bring the numbers. Everybody that Tony brought to PEP, still in PEP. The only people that have left with Tony is him and his mad girl. And to the party, the reason nobody is talking about it, Cora Panton, is because we're relieved. In a family, when a member with a drug problem or other big problem, I had to use that, or another toxic problem that makes them high maintenance and difficult to deal with, finally moves on, you get relieved. You get a certain sense of relief. You miss them. You still love them. Tony was my wingman. Any show I get, I take in Tony with me. They call me to come on a show in somewhere in the bush in Tunapuna. I say, Tony, I'm coming for you. Let me go. I make Tony my wingman. Nobody know Tony before me. So the only thing that you're all doing right now is taking the little fame of the association Tony have with me, and you're going to ruin the boy. You're going to destroy him. Because Tony's not a bad person. And I watched it last night, and Tony, I watched a little piece of it, and the things that were insinuated, don't do that. Don't. Ronaldo, I want to explain to you, sometimes you have to address things. I want the PEP members to hear me say this. I wish Anthony Defoe the very best in life. I have no, I do not like how it was handled. This child that he is with, she created confusion for months. Somebody told me that the speed with which they left PEP to go UNC, and that it had exaggeratedly accelerated in the last couple of weeks, was because a payment was made. I don't know. How you know it was Tunapuna Lema? You're following close. You're following close. If a payment was made, then I am happy for you. I know UNC and PNM, that's how they run their politics. They buy people. We in the Progressive Empowerment Party, though, we're not like that. Now, Tony, I understand your situation, and I know the decision must have been tough. And I'm going to say this so that all the PEP members hear me. I've said nothing about this before. You may have seen this child copy and paste personal conversations between me and Tony that she had access to in his personal Facebook and his personal groups that he was a member of. But she copied and pasted, Tony, your integrity boy, they damaging that. Fix that. But other than that, I have no concern. And I have to say this. They say arrogant. That's not arrogance. I didn't go and find people to bring them into the PEP, you know. But when they come, the door's wide open. And you could demonstrate some kind of ability and capacity and rise easily in the party. What happened was, this child, riding on this boy's back, for want of a better term, wanted to be deputy political leader too. And I think the other people in the party had disagreements continuously, numerous, many. You ever see somebody as loved and cherished as your wingman leave a party and nobody shed a tear? You ever see that? Not one person post on Facebook, anywhere, anything. Everybody just quiet. You know why they're quiet? Because we've had meeting after meeting trying to resolve the Tony issue. I was told by the leadership of this party, in the Progressive Empowerment Party, we run deputy political leader as the political leader's choice, as it should be, as it is in the civilized world, because deputy political leaders function as support for the political leader. The problems with Anthony Defoe went on for over a year. For over a year. It went on to the point where last Christmas, at a meeting, our closing meeting, Tony promised the whole party. I'm telling you, there are thousands of people that could verify everything I am saying to you. That's why I'm not talking about this, and I'm not saying a bad word about Tony. But his situation ran out of control, and the leadership of the party was insisting to me that we need to step Tony down and let him deal with his personal issues and come back. And I still, to the very end, fought for my wingman, like I am doing tonight. Because I see that this call and respond, they're going to try and use him to chain him up. Like the Pope did to the Crusaders. I forgive you in advance. I don't have a problem with Anthony Defoe. I see them sharing stuff. I could share stuff if I wanted to prove my point a little more, if I need to prove my point. I have conversations where people were provoking me and telling me to fire him. And I'm saying I am not going to fire Anthony Defoe. I'm talking about to the point where they accepted another party's offer before he even resigned. Before. So when he resigned, because we heard that you're going UNC and you're dealing with Brian Stone. Brian Stone is, you know, in your kitchen, you have the fridge, you have the shelves in the fridge, you have the bottom of the fridge, and then you have the dirt that's collected under the fridge, and you only see that when you move the fridge. Tony, you're not in the fridge, you know. You're below the fridge, in the dirt, with Brian Stone and Anil Roberts. You've fallen far, friend. You're not shining like a beacon. You're a dog whistle to a handful, a small maxi of pep haters. Ali G, Delwood, Osuna. You're a dog whistle to them. They're going to beat up themselves like fish on the dock that you catch, you pull it out of the water. But nobody taking them on. They ask a question, if a tree falls in a forest and nobody's there to see or hear, did it really fall? If a deputy political leader leaves a party and nobody in the party cares, now I understand. She provoking others, there will always be loose members. Remember, this is a volunteer organization, and the Progressive Empowerment Party works harder than any other political party. Look at it. Look at the volume of work we put out. Look at it. Look at the volume of our numbers. Just look at that. And the amount of work we do. This morning, a police officer said to me, bro, I don't know where you find the time. We're down in the mouth of a river. Sunday morning when everybody with their family, I climbing down inside a hole in the river to do video. The Progressive Empowerment Party works harder than any other political party. And there will be members who can't keep up. A lot of these, I tell you, this maxi taxi of haters is people by people who came to the party to solve their personal problems or grind their personal acts, or a man leave this party because he vexed with Gary Griffith and I wouldn't agree with him. Now check that. Now I understand the capacity of the Commissioner of Police. You don't have to like him. You don't have to agree with me. That is the beauty of free speech. I am entitled to my opinion, you're entitled to yours, and we are entitled to our opinions of each other's opinions. Michael George said, Phillip feeling hurt? Absolutely. I hate to watch. I hate to invest that much time in a person and lose them. Hollis Reservoir, no, it's Hillsborough Reservoir in Marabal. Kevin the Freighter, so you still don't catch me yet. It's Hillsborough in Marabal. Hollis, Hillsborough, Navet, Arena. Those are the 4 reservoirs in Trinidad. Anyway, I was going somewhere and Kevin distracted me. But Mr. George, I want to tell you, I absolutely, when people get close and they spend time with you, you develop a relationship. And I love Tony as a friend and as a colleague, okay? And he's gone. I am not like the other politicians. I will tell you how I feel, and that hurt me. Because I put myself on the line. I have put myself on the line for people where people call me and say somebody approached the party, they're in a financial emergency and they need to borrow money, and I say, I will guarantee that that person will pay. Now if you take money and you don't pay, I have to put it out. But more importantly, you sold your integrity again. Kevin, I knew before, but it's 53 now, not everything fitting in my brain. Some things just fall out. And I want to say, I can't think of the provocation that could track with them. They're not getting traction. They've had their Brian Stone live, and now they've done a Cora Pantin live. So the next live is probably going to be with Winston Ragu, and then they will do a live of their own and get 12 views, and then they will realize that it's over. The band has packed up. The lights have been turned off. The audience have dispersed, and you're playing a song for yourself that nobody wants to hear. If you want to know how that feels, call Dilwood Braffett, who used to share pep stuff and get thousands of likes and comments, and he can't get one like. He is the #1 composer performer of singing to an empty hall. And I'm not saying that with malice, but I absolutely despise when people come and learn from me and think that they could do what I do. Janelle, I saw you giving Tony support on the live last night, and I thank you for that. Give him all the moral support in the world. I might see him with Kia too. Yeah, he might end up with... I heard Daryl Duku find Jesus. I don't know if that is true or if that is more bacana. But yes, and Sima is correct. Only the PEP. Why is Kamla not doing a video about Suraj Rambajan? She meet him there. Why Kamla not doing a video about Ganga Singh? She knew him from NAR. Why Kamla not doing a video about Tim Gopi Singh? He is a ULF stalwart, UNC stalwart. Michaela Basdeo Pandey, Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj, Trevor Sudama, John Humphrey. Did I say Kevin? Was it? Who was the man that we learned the word Ni Makaram? Kelvin Ramnath. Ni Makaram became into the national conversation because Kelvin, listen, people will come, people will go. I find it ludicrous that some people have such little lives that all they have left to do with their time. I mean, your child getting the amount of attention you're giving me? I want to know. Is your child getting the amount of attention you're giving me? And I really need to ask that question. Keith Rowley has lost the most important people in the PNM, and it's going to get worse coming close to the election. Right now, they're going home by a Syrian, looking to find ways to mix Harry Creed and Best Creed and and epoxy to fix them cracks. The P&M falling apart. They're trying to move people, and the people telling them, we know where the body's buried. The P&M is a corrupt organization. The UNC as well. They're not denying it. Their names have been called for all of their history. And I'm trying, because I don't attack people anymore. None of the others. Somebody posted on my wall for me to see, and I deleted it. Because somebody told him, your leader have real good ideas, but he's too arrogant. And their response was, the other two, one is a drunk and the other is a thug. At least my leader have ideas. Your move. And I want to tell you, it's important to know what you're doing. Because if we had people in government who knew what they were doing, this government, in the first year of 5 years, Keith Rowley could have sealed all the rivers, created a retention pond system, and express delivery to all of the reservoirs, tripped and powered by the movement of the actual water falling from the sky, not costing us a cent, cancel the contract with the desalination plant, save us $500 million a year, and put water in everybody's tap 24/7. He could have done that if he wanted to. But it is either he's stupid and he don't know how to do it, or they know how to do it, but the contract mafia money too nice. It's too sweet. So partner, if you jump out, Pep, because you're vexed with me, form a party. I watch Dilworth, at least I give Dilworth the respect. You tried to form 4 party, all failed, but you tried. Gary Griffith have to talk about Kirkwaite and now. You form a party name now, but everybody have to ask you, why you form the party now? You in this politics talk 20 years now. Kirk, who you trying to fool? You are like one of them fellas who's pull up at the fete, 3 o'clock in the morning, to see which girls ain't link up yet, to see if they get a date. How come you did not form this party where you could have built structure, establish a manifesto, write a constitution, and demonstrate what is different about you? Give the people philosophy, ideology, policy, program, ideas. How come you wait till now? How come? This is a Kobo Sweat party. So you go tell people, you go tell the media, well, we now form, so we can't have a manifesto. We now form, so we can't have no leadership. We now form, we have no members. So where's the point of view? At least MSJ, that is pretend and play a real political party for him and for Zir, at least they're trying to say, and they pelt 2 stones in the local government election. I'm telling you, this is not easy. We'll come back to whether or not you need to like me, because I want to tell you this, the best person for the job is the man that you don't like. You have no emotional attachment, and it's all business. That is emotional intelligence. It's all business. You are the person to do the job. I want water in my taps 24/7. Mr. Alexander, this is your mandate. I want water in my taps 24/7. I want every child to have the same benefits as the children who go to the prestige schools. I want healthcare standards better than St. Clair and West Shore in the public health system. I want us food independent in the next 5 years, close our borders and stop the flow of drug and dirty money, go after the white-collar criminals, end the corruption, and bring our money back. Give me that as my mandate. Just those 8 things. There is no other politician in the country that has the ability, the belly, the back, the balls to get that job done. Not one. And I will debate all on my track record, on my ideas, on my ability, on the fact that we've amassed an orange army. There are thousands of us now. Thousands. This is not the same bullshit joke that mommy and daddy used to vote for. This have nothing to do with my hair texture. It better you don't like me. But make sure, because it's easy to fire somebody you don't like. Right now you're in 2 minds. Like granny, rending she garments about she dead grandchild. But Rowley, we seeing you, we voting for you. The oppressed tripping over themselves to support the oppressor. There are people in this country who have made money that cannot answer for the money that they have made. And they are deathly afraid of me and my voice. I have already educated the people of Trinidad and Tobago too far They don't know how to put that genie back in the bottle. So the only thing they're concerned about is to make sure that Phillip don't get into Parliament, because Phillip in Parliament is a new day. Is a new game. There are members in the Progressive Empowerment Party who are still unsure of the size of my capacity. I do things on a large level. I do things in a big way. I come out to you and I talk to you every night. You have thousands of hours of me and all of the things that I've said that we will do. You have it. You could play it over and over and over like the guy in Morvan who put speakers on his porch and plays my live videos for the valley to hear. Thank you, sir. You're a giant among men. The reality of our situation is we've been divided by race in this country. Everybody know that. The race parties are owned by the 1% and the contract mafia. Again, apparently, everybody knows that too. Everybody knows that if you vote against UNC to vote for PNM, or you vote against PNM to vote for UNC, it doesn't matter. The same criminal contract mafia members going to be making millions and billions while you sucking salt, but all you get to say is, well, at least it's not them. That has been good enough up until now. But I ask, do Trini lives matter? Do Trinidadian lives matter? Maxi Coffee. Maxi Coffee. Let's talk Maxi. Some of you may not know that Maxi Coffee has put out a post that people are calling seditious. It's obviously racist. It's a dog whistle to the race to cause racial strife in the country. Journalists, media, economists, political scientists, all have weighed in. I wrote this today, and I would like to share it with those who didn't get it. To close the Tony story, and I said these things tonight so that my PEP members will hear me, there is nothing that can be said in those quarters that I want you defending me for. There is nothing that can be said by them that I want you fighting for me for. There is nothing that they can say or do that I want you screenshotting and sharing with me. I do not care. I am not in the UNC. As far as I am concerned, that is now UNC business. Where Tony is concerned, bro, I miss you, and I wish you all the best in life. Let that be it. Maxi Coffee has always been the most dangerous of racists. Why most dangerous? Because he's the type of racist that believes racism is natural, normal, and he gets away with it because he's black. Because in this militant, politically correct world, black people cannot be called racist because of the overt racism black people endure. I have alluded time and again to conversations he and I have had when he was my editor at the TNT Mirror about the destructive power of racist politics. And he would say that there's nothing wrong with the zebras wanting to drink with the zebras and the gazelles drinking with the gazelles. And he's not the only person who say this. And the argument almost sounds inarguable. And again, it's hard to tell a black person that they're being racist. But we're not zebras or gazelles. It's become too common in our Trini culture to be offhand with our racism. Whites have gotten the best pass. There are no white jokes that really matter. Syrian jokes have gotten less and less as Syrians have gotten richer and whiter over the years. As people got more sensitive, the only race it seemed okay to joke about were Asians. So we end up with Chinese parang playing in Massy stores at Christmas time. But they would never play nigger parang or coolie parang because apparently those would be offensive. But Chinese Trinbagonians have no feelings. Again, an issue I have raised every year since that stupid song was made. We as a nation, though, ought not to be throwing words like sedition around, but rather working to find ways to get beyond those things that separate us. This morning I read a beautiful piece by a Jean-Luc Canel, I think the person's name was, and among the comments was a fake profile pretending to be black, attacking those of Caucasian descent about reparations, distracting from the good work the piece did, which was to talk about the separation power of gated communities, something Rafik Shah warned us about 20 years ago. No, we the people cannot let ourselves be distracted by such simple trickery. There was a time we had to endure the same sad cinemas and every creed and race in town found itself at Globe on a Sunday night and it worked. Money made a mess of that. Now we go movie town, normal. TV6 made a big noise about all the different nights Johnny Soong and the daughters of Royal Bank and Guardian Life, and I call those two companies' names. And if anybody would like further clarification from either Royal Bank or Guardian Life, feel free. 682-2110. Call your boy. TV6 made a big noise about all the different nights Johnny Soong and the daughters of Royal Bank and Guardian Life had at the time at Club Coconuts in Gillette's Hotel. But nobody was talking about the fact that the races were packing their respective nights. Now if you knew, they referred to your night as Gollywog Night or Coconut Oil Night, and you still went, there's nothing else I could add. Myself and some friends built a nightclub in 1993 called the Power Station in Long Circular Mall, and it had no color bar, meaning once you were well dressed and had money to spend, welcome in. The club was packed every night, but the blacks that went to Club Coconuts would routinely refuse our invitations and tell me they would not attend our club because, in their words, there were too many blacks there. It was all part of the learning curve of understanding how badly black skin viewed itself in many cases, damaged by the legacies first of slavery, then by colonialism that made lighter hues more desirable and black skin something to loathe, even if it were your own. We learned that masses' red children were higher on the pecking order than the obvious offspring of slaves, and that has remained with us since. Go watch Chris Rock's show Good Hair, who did a damn good job addressing the issue of the billion-dollar international weave industry and why it might exist. The point of this, though, is that many of the issues affecting us, where race is concerned, has become ingrained in us. We seem to have accepted a certain order of things that the killing of George Floyd has finally brought bubbling to the surface. Now everything seems in play, and even the more uncomfortable questions can be asked. The question we all have to ask is, do we really believe that all people are people the way we think of ourselves as people? And if not, why not? And if yes, then why are we so silent living in so racist a world? If we believe all people are people, then all people should be treated the same way in the banks, the courts, the police stations, at job interviews, in bars and restaurants, at real estate showings, and everywhere else. If we do not believe that all people are people, we should be made to remove ourselves from society, find our kin or clan, and live out the rest of our days away from the rest of everyone else. Believing blacks to be lesser children of the same God is the foundation of much that is wrong with our world and this country, and one post or the reactions to it won't be the end-all, be-all of the conversation. We need people capable of leading us in a collective conversation on race relations to do so, not to make laws, make more laws, or create more obstacles if such a thing is possible, but to break down dividers at the root so that all people could have access to growing into their personal best and maximizing their full potential. And I want to say this, there are plenty of people working in the kitchen and at the front desk of restaurants that should own the restaurant, that know more about restaurant business than the owner of the restaurant, but can't get finance, can't get a loan, can't get a lease, can't get a leg up or a help up. There are people running stores, factories, seamstresses, and I'm telling you, black people who cannot get past being black, who cannot get the support that, say, a Mario Sabgabud, who was able to open a store a month for 10 years, could. And this is something that I have been asking for a long time. Because until we leveled that playfield, hear me again, until you could go inside the freaking restaurant and find the hand that put the sweetness in the food, because you're making millions. People trapped in a society that allows some to soar and others can only go so high. But to break down dividers at the root so that all people could have access to growing into their personal best and maximizing their full potential, and perhaps at the end of it we could learn to live, work, and play together as it should be. You see, the missing word is respect. The missing word is respect. If you can't beat me in the race because there is there are obstacles to your beating me in the race, I don't have to respect you, but you have to respect me. But the missing word here is respect. The reason we have race problems is that we don't watch each other eye to eye. We've seen white people call the police and report black people wrongly, and the police react to the call. That's not eye to eye. We need to be able to judge circumstances by circumstances, not by skin color. The conversation people trying to have, and now when we're talking black, we're talking everybody that's not white. We're talking about leveling the play field, not pulling anybody down, lifting everybody else up. If we have Syrians and whites and Chinese that are 100 millionaires in a country that have a $22 billion GDP, and I tell you, we could easily have a $400 billion GDP, then let's raise everybody else up. Leave them up there. Let others come up to your ranks. Let there be 10 other Caribs and Stags in the country. How would Samga feel about that? If this was a real country, Abel couldn't buy clay blocks or tap. They couldn't buy each other. That just prevents the consumer from getting price, service, and quality. But let's make sure that we provide finance to every little person who wants to start up their own block factory. 10, 15, 20. Let's generate real competition in the economy. There are too many monopolies in Trinidad. That will fix a lot of stuff and bring respect to bear. Perhaps at the end we could learn to live, work, and play together as it should be, rather than creating false narratives or maintaining historic hurts that only serve to maintain division and allow us to be abused by those on top who benefit from keeping the zebras and the gazelles at each other's throats. Many feigning outrage at Maxi's post would tell you a racist joke in a heartbeat, and many might not even know that they were being racist. We need to tread carefully. Again, I watched people who thought the term All Lives Matter was a step up from Black Lives Matter and a way to include all of we as one family in the conversation, because they did not know the intrigues of the American politics, or the fact that All Lives Matter was actually an insult used as a counter and a diminisher to Black Lives Matter, and ended up paying the harshest price for it. I also watched persons who thought offhandedly of blacks as sneakers thieves without pausing for a second to acknowledge that drug trafficking, money laundering, and white-collar criminality of benefits from government for kickbacks for benefits in either direction was much worse than stealing sneakers. But again, we live in a country where Jack Warner is reviled for his crime, but high-end empire builders who got there under what could only be described as the most magical of questionable circumstances be either ignored for their known crimes or revered for having the audacity to succeed at it. I asked Jack Warner in an interview if he ever wondered if he was white, if he would have been treated differently. And his instant retort was to ask, if I had blue eyes? Point made. Wrap your head around this. We allow racism. We can stop it. We have to face it and recognize it. Pretending that Maxi is the only person talking race among us is more overcorrection. Hopefully we get to a place where every hue and religion, you see, I avoid here every creed and race. I am changing it to every hue and religion. Hopefully we get to a place where every hue and religion could not have to have an equal place, but could find a normal space in a society not divided by what Massa used to think. Are we up to that challenge? In the hopes of a post-COVID-19 world where we all want to believe that a better world is possible, racism, exclusion, and all other social dividers are things we should all agree to definitely leave in the pre-coronavirus past. If this is really a reboot, then let's make it really count. Yeah? What do you think? If this is really a reboot. But she had that perfect voice for that chutney harmony, eh? Song, I hit a cut and tell you this. I promise you two things: honesty and hard work. I have demonstrated a work ethic second to none. My continuous post updates. I have broken more news stories than traditional media. We've created a hold on the narrative that has forced the other political parties to turn away from roti politics, bacchanal, that was the trend prior to us being launched on January 18th, 2017. We have created a space where we bring information into public space. Whether the media blacks us out or not, we have millions of views. We operate in our own space. When the news, they call to ask, how is coronavirus affecting us? I said, well, actually, coronavirus is affecting our opponents. But we are still in the same space that you all left us in from the start. We were confined to social media. So when the rest of it shut down, everybody came into our arena. Here, we came. Here, we out and bad. Here, when the Progressive Empowerment Party puts out a video, now these videos that go on for an hour and a half, 2 hours, you don't expect them to get 10,000 views every night, because you hear me a lot and we do this exchange a lot. But the small 6 and 7 minute topical videos every day, those get hundreds of thousands of views. We've done videos, I tell you, we crossed 1 million views in 4 videos in the last month, 28 days, March, and we created a TikTok sensation. The only political party that created 2 social media sensations: Gunman in your hole on Instagram and Yamami on TikTok. And while it may not matter to you or some of you, to the young people who had never been interested in politics, all of a sudden the Progressive Empowerment Party created a space for them, and they take the space. And I want to tell you this, and we discussed this at length: you don't manipulate young people. Young people have all the mind to take over the world. They know, remember yourself as a teenager, how sure you were of everything that you believed. Young people are like that because they need that courage to step into the uncertainty of the future. Dave Lux repeatedly says, dinosaurs shouldn't be in politics. It is the young people who are going to grow into whatever it is politicians do. Politicians create the world that other people have to live in. Shouldn't those people who have to grow into it have a say? Shouldn't they? The Progressive Empowerment Party, I mean, we have so many progressive ideas, so many new ideas, so many fantastic policies that you can't help fall in love with it. You say, that man boy tough. Sometimes he abrasive. I can't handle the cussing. But you see them ideas, boy, you see them policies. If they do 10% of what they promise, this country is the best country in the world. We propose an elders council, a youth council, and an activist council. Those 3 councils will guide the hand of government. Between the activists, the elders, and the youth, we would have touched the entire nation. It is the activists, and I am talking about women's rights, children's rights, animal rights, environmental rights, fishermen rights, the rights of the orphans, the rights of the disabled, any community that is disadvantaged, that creates activists to fight on their behalf, we will pay very close attention to. We will meet with the Activist Council once a month with an open mic. There will be lunch provided, and not corned beef and macaroni. A proper lunch. We will have the Activist Council. We will assist everybody with some transportation. to come and to go. There would be a small stipend to be on the activist council, not massive, but it allows you to pay the gas or the taxi that brings you and takes you back, because we want you in a comfort zone in your mind when you come, because you get 5 minutes at the microphone, because there may be 100 activists, and you get 5 minutes and you address, hear who you're addressing? The cabinet. You address the cabinet. And no matter what, as a cabinet minister, you can't miss 2 consecutive activist council meetings unless you're on life support, because I will put you on, I'm going to say I'll put you on life support, somebody will clip that out and make that into a joke. So I will make sure that every cabinet minister is present and attend, treat with total respect, activist council meeting, because the activist council will instruct the government of what the ground is dealing with. Understand this. Once a month, every activist in the country will have the entirety of the cabinet in front of them and will have an opportunity to address the cabinet one at a time for 5 minutes. The entire thing would be minuted, it would be recorded. Every person present within 7 days will get a copy of the recording and the transcripts of the minutes. These are the things that were discussed. Bound, so you could turn to the page where you, as an activist for the environment or the animals or the women's groups or whatever, you stood up and spoke for 5 minutes, and what you contributed is there. So next month, you could walk up to the microphone again and say, my contribution is again to the Minister of Social Development, but I would also like to escalate it to the Prime Minister. Good day, gentlemen. Last month, I said, and nothing was done. I would like to yield my 5 minutes, what's left of my 5 minutes, to either the Minister of Social Development or the Prime Minister to account to the room why nothing was done. You see, that's real leadership. That is the public. People ask for a referendum. Give us a referendum on every decision the cabinet is going to make. That's that. Activist council. And a way to hold the cabinet continuously accountable to the people. You want to know that the cabinet listening to the public. That's the most critical of things. And it's not going to be easy for cabinet ministers, because the public going to have issues that they need addressed. And we will meet with the elders council, and we will meet, because the elders is a treasure trove, or a treasure trove of knowledge and experience. The youth should have a voice that the government takes seriously. Dana Antroba saying mental illness is ignored here, is treated like a joke here. We treat things that we can't manage or we don't understand like they are jokes, and we make jokes about them. We make punchlines, we make memes, we make puns. Is this done today or no one bothers? It's not done. This is a progressive empowerment party policy, the Activist Council. And we've already started telling activists, get yourself ready. You see, farmers could have an activist managing the affairs of farmers that will bring farmers issues. So any community, any organization, any gathering of people, watch me, footballers, young footballers in this country do not get the respect that they deserve. And out of those young footballers, we could find the next Russell Atapi or Dwight York or, what was his striker name? Our highest striker. Oh gosh. I know 10 hours, you're going to remind me shortly. But understand that the young footballers should be given a voice to come to the Activist Council and say, we don't get nowhere to sweat. We have nowhere to play. We have nowhere to hone our skill sets. We're busting up with toe, playing on pitch. We would like to make a proposal. That's one of the things that, this is not just a bitch and moan session. Activists must propose. Activists must suggest. Activists must request. Throat dry. Activists must have ideas of their own. You will hear these parties steal ideas like this. But they won't steal the idea of how to fix water. Because Stern John, thank you Mohan, Stern John our cricket, our young athletes, our cyclists. Trinidad and Tobago have good swimmers, good cyclists that have been barred, that have been blocked. We have good people in everything. Ron Laferre, Derek, I don't think Ron scored as much as Stern John, but I am open to guidance for nationally. But that's sport. There are other things. Even workers, unrepresented workers. But as I say, it can't just be a bitch and moan. You must have a plan or an idea. If you do not have a government, that you can access, the Progressive Empowerment Party was the first party to say that as government, we will pass a law that all public works being done in the constituency, unless it is a national project passing through the constituency, understand? National waterworks, national highway works, those will be undertaken by central government and contracted out. But any public works being done in a constituency must be done by people from that constituency. Contractors registered only in that constituency. You cannot be registered in two constituencies. That would be fraud. And workers must live in the constituency. Stern scored as much as he missed. I ain't getting into that conversation. I just asked who was the highest scorer. Anyway, we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, deserve a better country, and the way to get that is to stand up. When I was just a radio host, I told Nylon Hippolyte on the phone, on the radio, he had called it. I said, Nylon, marginalize Lamantel. Let neither the PNM nor the UNC know who you're voting for, because then they would work in your constituency. People pay attention to who they are unsure of. They were also the first to say, miss me with that bullshit. Indeed. It made Hollywood. Moving forward, it's 2 minutes to 11. So we've been doing this for a little while. My apologies to anybody who think I talk hard. My country has been on fire for all of my life. I grew up aware of what's going on. I've always been hyper aware of why blacks can't rise in the country, or why certain people are getting away with certain things. I've always been hyper aware of corruption. I watch government ministers start off with nothing and leave in 5 years multi-millionaires. I watch businessmen I went to school with that had nothing that today are mega millionaires, and none of it makes sense. None of it is explainable. You can't tell me that you corral the entirety of the nation's lawn mowing and gave it to one company. It's not fair. All work should be shared. The public funds should drill down. We should make sure that everybody has a chance, the same chance, that you're not supposed to be sleeping with a politician or willing to bribe a politician to get jobs, that you should have a natural, inherent right. And I promise this, a Progressive Empowerment Party will not see people by race or class or religion or even political affiliation. You could come into the office wearing your PNM shirt or your UNC shirt and still be treated as the citizen that you are. A misguided one, a led astray one, but still a citizen with all the rights of every other citizen. And that's how it should be. Because after the politics is over, after you win government, the politics is supposed to stop. It's supposed to be government now. And government is for all the people. Government is for all. Lisa, you know what? And this is an open call to anybody who's ever left the Progressive Empowerment Party who would like to do a live video with me We could cry, we could hug up, we could reminisce. Maybe we could mend fences, but you will leave in a pep t-shirt. Maybe we mend fences. Maybe we reconnect and all go forward together. The same way we say that there are exits on every floor, all our doors are open. Conchantita Figueroa said, you might feel so, but the other under you maybe will not feel the same. Well, I want to tell you something, Conchantita. The others underneath me understand that I am, for now, the authority in this party. And if I am the authority in the government, they will understand that as well. And some people may not like that and may want to do things different to how the authority of the organization, the promises we've made, and the plans that we set, and the policies we set, and the goals that we're aiming for, and they might squeeze themselves out. But trust me, any bacchanal, I tell people, if you come into this party and we end up in government, all pots stand on their own bottom. If you get yourself in trouble, get yourself out of it. The government will not be defending you, will not be blocking for you, will not be lying for you. Work with a baker's dozen as your model. Be transparent, be accountable, be able to stand up and defend yourself. Mohan Sami says revolving door. Well, I guess even that makes sense. People should be free to come and to go. The reality of this political organization is we have actual plans, we have actual policies, we have actual systems. The PNM is telling you about their systems, but then they parachute Faris Al-Rawi as PRO and Member of Parliament for San Fernando West. They parachute Stuart Young as PRO when Faris moved on and made him Member of Parliament for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West or East or whichever. But the people of the party who believe the bullshit that the PNM is run by the party always gets denied. Because the people of the party wanted Nylon Hippolyte. They did not want Fitzgerald Hines. They have Fitzgerald Hines. They didn't want Lovell Francis. They end up with Lovell Francis. They didn't want Groper Man. They end up with Darrell Smith because they parachute Justin Phelps into Diego Martin Central, but his business caused him to not be able. They voted 99-1, wanted Ambry Brown in Brazil. The PNM party, for all the nonsense it talks about all the structure it has, pure bullshit. It has structure below the leadership. It organized the plebs. All of the lemmings, all of the fools who are still fooled by the PNM, them, you have structure to keep them in line. You know, to bust their throat. But above that, where the food nice, where the drinks have bubbles, that, in the Progressive Empowerment Party, they are real and transparent systems. Anthony Defoe could tell you that. For a whole year, we tried to fix all the things that ail that. And we won't, not on my watch at least, we won't be varying from what we say publicly. This is what we stand for. And again, a roving round of applause, round of applause for all of those. Nah, for all of those who built this party. All rousing. I'm gonna see what that means. Alrighty. To all who built this party, big kudos to you all. Big. Because we built this without money, without finance, under a media blackout, fighting the PNM, the UNC, and the contract mafia. When we stepped out, the contract mafia threw some plebs, trolls, sycophants, and they outnumbered us 10-1, put out a litany of things that they ascribed to me as wrongdoing. And I had to start off not treading water. I was treading treacle. I had to start off treading in toughie to get to water, to get to dry land. They made it impossible. They made it uneasy. They made it difficult. We had rough times. We had the valley of the shadow of death time and again. We had, yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. We've had members that show up every time we on the ascendancy to remind us, hey, we here, don't forget we here, we with you, full. There are people who left the party that never made a single $1 donation to the party, that have never volunteered to do anything for the party, are not written down as any important role or responsibility in the party, but make a big noise that they leave the party. Now come on, if you're in the party, it had to be a little more than you sign a paper. If you want to consider yourself as something that you leave, because again, this is important. The work that we've done to get to here. Oliver Mariners, can we make a plan to win the election as a separate function? I'm not sure what Oliver keeps inferring. I think that he wants us to do whatever it takes to win. I want to give Oliver directions to Balize House or to Rienzi, because that's their policy. The Progressive Empowerment Party will stand for right, and it will stand for integrity, and even if it is messy at times, we're still going to stand. We're going to stand. As Felicia now reminded me, they never even sell a barbecue ticket, but they're making a big fuss. They're making a big, big noise. More noise than they would. But again, some people make you happy when they come to you. Some people make you happy when they leave. Amir Ali asks, you still haven't answered my question, Mr. Alexander. Amir Ali, please ask the question again, because I did not see you ask a question. So ask me again. And I will. I have to respond to somebody asking for a meeting. Amir Ali, you still haven't answered my question, Mr. Alexander. I'm scrolling to see if I could see Amir Ali's question. Or conversely, Amir, you could ask it again. Amir Ali, I have one question. Amir, you had me worried there for a minute. All right. You know what somebody did? Somebody found the clip of me saying, where the second wave supposed to come from, Terrence, if we lock down 2 months now and the airport's closed, where it's supposed to come from? Your mommy? And they posted under it, this man like to be in everything, and look, he doing the people meme. They didn't even know that I was the original person who said it. And when you're just out to pelt cuff, thank you for that, Amir. You make me smile at the close of play. It's getting late. You all realize the video we did last night ran for 3 hours. 3 consecutive hours of non-stop deep dialogue. I am so proud of that show. If you didn't see that show, go and watch that show. Go and listen to the kind of leadership. Thank you, Amir. Hadassah, I want Amir to get special treatment for being our comic tonight. But seriously, the second wave, if we're not careful, we will get a second wave from South America. And I put Jason Kelshaw on blast at the start of the video, and I will close reminding him, Mr. Kelshaw, you have a responsibility to protect this nation with the job that you hold. I don't care if you don't like me, it doesn't matter. Your job is to secure this nation. Secure the nation. Is it true that Anthony Defoe spent his money in PEP, Mr. Alexander? We don't have a parlor. They have nowhere for Anthony Defoe to spend his money. And if he has any receipts for any money that he spent, I paid for all Anthony Defoe's jerseys. I paid for everything that Anthony Defoe has. So I don't know what he spent money on. But if he has receipts, I am sure he would have shown them somewhere by now. But then again, talk is cheap. Felicia Holder, Usha Debedine, Giselle Jordan Young are the people who secured this party's finances, and they unimpeachable. So Mr. Defoe, who has accounts to settle, as you raised that, what was this guy's name? Who asked that? Robert Jr. Wren. I hope you have two-way with the conversation, because the finance team actually are waiting on Mr. Defoe to call them, because he has some accounts to settle. So yeah, 3 hours last night I was locked on for the entirety waiting for part 2. That going to be big. We already have people interested who weren't on the first thing, big people who want to make a contribution to the party. And Mr. Wren, you make me respond, and I don't like responding to things the way I just respond, as GiveX when people try to impugn. Let's Google impugn. Impugn, let's Google impugn, because a rousing round of applause, I'm going to remember that. Impugn means dispute the truth, validity, or honesty of a statement or motive and call it into question. To impugn someone, to assail by words or arguments, oppose or attack as false or lacking integrity, impugn the defendant's character. I don't like to have my or the party's character impugned. And I want to tell you, I always say, judge the source, whoever the source is. And more importantly, when somebody, because I've had people on my show, let me draw you a reference. I've had Dano Suku on my show when nobody else was bringing Dano Suku on the show. Devon Mirage, they used to cuss me for Devon and say the worst things about Devon. And I have to look at Devon and then I have to look at them. And I take Devon at his word and I have to take them at theirs. And how am I supposed to judge? Other than by their fruits, you will know them. So this is a country where it is easy to assassinate characters. Remember Faris as PRO? He knew one Latin phrase, ad hominem. I had sent Faris an article, I think it was published in The Guardian, of all other Latin phrases he could use, because he only used to talk ad hominem, which means about the person. And it's easy in Trinidad and Tobago. And it was funny that a PNM PRO said that, because that is the PNM way. Attack you, and they did that. And what a lot of people take as arrogance, reach the fight late. You reach the battle late. You didn't see what I was taking. You didn't see all that I took from day one. You didn't see what the media did. You didn't see all the attacks, all the character assassinations. There's a fellow called Dane Wilson. In one of our defamation cases, we printed this fact, the comments on a post by a fellow named Dane Wilson from the PNM that just attacked my character. I mean, we would get invited to radio shows and they would have it set as a trap and say things about us, to us, and have us disprove. You don't know. Some of you who see me now, they tell me, Phil, you need to be a little more Obama. I am sure at the start, I was very Obama. I am sure at the start. I was very calm, controlled, collected, serene. But along the way, it was a lot of abuse. And we stood firm. And we fought every fight. We fought every fight. We stood our ground. Somebody said, I said to somebody, it was a room packed to capacity. That was the politics of Trinidad and Tobago. And the Progressive Empowerment Party had to elbow our way into that room. They didn't give an inch. We had to make them give us an inch. We insisted on our rights. And over time, Gandhi said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. It's my intention at some point to become calm again. It's my intention, because there are people who, when they see me on like a video like last night, they say, but Philip, this is the Philip we want. I want to tell you something, that's the Philip I want to be. I don't like being in fight mode, but I want them clear about this. We are soft targets. We're not going to roll over. We're not giving up. We're here to stay. We're going to fight in every space and every place. We insist on our rights. Whether you use your money to block us in the media and then defame us in the same media, we will establish a beachhead on social media and beat you here. We will show Trinidad and Tobago that there is nothing like only PNM and UNC. Look at Cyril Ramadan, who is right here tonight. He has taken so much blows. He runs a whole group. And I think Cyril is the troll whisperer. I don't like to go in his group at all. Cyril has put out posts, talk about dog whistle. All it calls are the trolls and the sycophants. And he deals with, I don't know where he get that capacity to absorb that much negativity and hate, but he confines them to a conversation and he deals with them. I want you to watch this. Forget everything from before, of all the work we've done before. Pretend none of it was done before, and I don't mind that. January 18, 2017, there's a video, the launch of the Progressive Empowerment Party. Go and see the volume. Francesca Velasquez, even if he spent money, was it with an ulterior motive that was not materialized? I can't see the rest of it because it's a live video, or did it not come? I don't know what you're saying, but I can't answer for anybody's motives. And I'm saying again, Anthony Defoe is my friend. I did not want it to end the way it ended. The last thing I could have ever wanted, all of the problems that he brought with him, I fought for him. And I did not want to lose him. These things happen. And I don't want anybody in the Progressive Empowerment Party fighting or attacking him. And I don't want the call and response that people around him trying to create so that they could feel relevant. I don't want us to get in that. Every time we go through an experience, we learn a little more, we come out a little bit better, we become better people. So let's be better people to this. I want to make sure. Jonathan say, Anthony Defoe real cool. Bro, you telling me I make the man my wingman? You telling me that and I don't know? We miss him. Cyril say our group is a troll killer. I know with certainty that at some point the veil that covers his eyes will be lifted and the clay that blocks his ears will be pierced, and Anthony Defoe will again see clearly and hear rationally and find his way back to his pep family. And we take him back. Again, he can't get a senior position because he demonstrated a weakness that cannot be accommodated in an organization that wants to lead people. But he is a very nice human being, and again, I want to wish him the absolute best in every future endeavor. David, what they say, Anthony is behind you, stay focused, and everything happens for a reason. Indeed, and we tell ourselves that. But we as a party, because I think the party needs to hear it, we as a party need to be able to say, some things you didn't want to happen. In fact, I'll even go so far as to tell you, none of the people we've ever lost, that was my first choice. But you can't be all of us in a maxi and everybody hand on the steering wheel, pulling it all over the place. We had a meeting, we decided where we're going, somebody's job is to drive. Let the driver drive. If you don't like where we're going, stop the maxi and get off. Find the next maxi, get on, and go your way. But you're not, when you're on another maxi, and all you're doing is talking about the maxi that you was on before, it says something else. Your motives, your intentions. But that's politics. That's the reality of politics. You will win some and you will lose some. And it's not been fun having that happen, but everything happens to teach us and make us better. I want to say that one of these sayings, and I want to read it exactly as he who would slay monsters. You ever notice when you type in something long into Google, the kind of crap that Google suggests? Anyway, I can't find the original quote. I believe it was Voltaire who said it. He who would slay monsters should see to it that along the way he does not become a monster. And that is a truism, if ever there was a truism. And I have committed myself. I got in an accident in 2008. It cost me a year, 6 months to a year, really. And I committed myself on a hospital bed early in that year to give 10 years of my life to Trinidad and Tobago. In that time, the Jericho Project, which we had founded when my son was born as a charity organization for the orphans, expanded into dealing with the orphans, the homeless, the disabled, and we were a first responder in times of national crisis, floods and any national catastrophes, and we even were able to send food to Haiti and to Somalia and close. We did close some other country. I think it was Dominica. We did all of those things. In that 10 years, the Jericho Project became a massive charity organization, and we launched the Progressive Empowerment Party. And I said that was supposed to be for 10 years, and that in 2018, on October the 10th, which was the anniversary of that accident, that 10 years would end. And so I was supposed to bow out of everything, active politics, charities, everything, 2018. But we had gotten we had gotten the Progressive Empowerment Party launched, and I had agreed to see the party through to an election, and if we won, to serve for 5 years. And so an election is before us. This is 2020. An election is before us, so I am committed to doing my all for that. And should we have any type of victory, to serve for 5 years. And 5 years is my limit. And I'm telling you, after that is done. But in that 5 years, I want to guarantee Trinidad and Tobago, because I've shown you, I've been down in the rivers and I've shown you the solutions to the problems. And I want to tell you something. In that 5 years, and regardless of who don't want it, we will move them out of the way. The promises we make to the people of Trinidad and Tobago are going to happen. And who vex, go had a loss. We will create a decentralized water and sewage management agency, decentralized to the 41 constituencies, and put water in every tap in this country 24/7 within the first 3 years of our office. We will purpose build 200 schools to replace all the existing schools and create 10-year school system zoned where all the schools are prestige schools, and abolish the child abusing SEA and knit our communities together. We will offer $1.5 million, up to $1.5 million zero deposit, zero interest loans for up to 30 years for first-time homeowners to get our people into homes. We will move the drug and corruption money out of real estate in this country. There are people who own 100, 200, 500 properties in Trinidad and Tobago. We need to break that, and we will do that with a property tax. The first primary property any Trinidadian owns, zero tax. And to own a property, you have to be above the age of 18. So yes, people could buy properties in their children's name, and it becomes a child's property, but then that's that person's property. And if they buy another property after daddy or mommy use your name, you'll end up paying a higher tax bracket. We will make sure that the first property that anybody owns, your primary residence, is 0% tax. The second property you own attracts a property tax, and every other property escalates until you reach the 20th property, which will be attracting a tax because it is escalating, similar to buying the property every year. We will make it inconceivable to bury drug money and corruption money in real estate, so you will have to sell it back to the market. The price of real estate in Trinidad and Tobago does not reflect genuine demand, and it has created a clique of landlords and turned us into a nation of renters. 180,000 people waiting for a home at HDC. This plan will make it possible for all 180,000 to find their own property that they want to buy. Once you have a job and want to own a home, you could own a home. Zero deposit, zero interest. You get to be a first-time homeowner once. Do not waste it. Zero deposit, zero interest. Make sure that you're stable. Do not buy a property that you cannot afford. At zero deposit, zero interest, each $100,000 of mortgage, each $100,000 of purchase price, the mortgage will be $466 a month. So work out your expendable income. If you are a minimum wage earner earning $2,800 a month, half of that, $1,000, could go towards, so you could buy a property, $250,000. This project, doing it like that, will bring the price of starter homes down. Businessmen, contractors, small contractors will jump in the fray to build starter homes. Let me give you an idea. Every one of those properties, like like Powder Magazine in Diego Martin, use that as an example. And a lot of these, the Fort George HDC complex, they just open. A lot of these HDC complexes, each apartment in that building not worth $100,000 in material and labor. So put it in context, what you can buy as a starter home for your family. And buying a starter home for your family creates savings and equity. It is money that you would have spent in rent anyway. Now, in 30 years, you actually have saved. Properties that sold in Diamond Vale for $50,000 being sold now for $200 million. So do the math. Properties increase in value faster than savings in the bank, so that investing in yourself and buying a property as a first-time homeowner will make it possible for not only for you to own your own home, but to have equity put aside in that house for your children are now grown up, and you have 3 children, you sell that home, and if those 3 children are not independent, if you didn't take advantage of our education policy and our tertiary plan to get the whole country working, if you didn't take advantage of it, because your family is supposed to be able to thrive under a government that wants everybody to have access to entrepreneurial support, micro-enterprise crucibles for development. We want to actually turn employees into employers. But the Progressive Empowerment Party tells you that Trinidad and Tobago is underpopulated, that we need to bring back the 1.5 million people we have outside, and our population should ideally be around 6 or 7 million people to get us to where we want to be on a GDP scale, where we could be earning $400 billion a year as a nation, and all of our people have a sensible standard of living. We want to make sure that all of our policies dovetails to that. Within that first 5 years, home ownership for all, water for all, the borders will be secured. Within the first 6 months, we will work with Coast Guards from allies from around the world to end the free flow of marine craft to Trinidad and Tobago. Designated, dedicated landing sites. And those designated, dedicated, like Yacht Club and Yachting Association, besides the ports, designated, if you get designation and you are a dedicated landing site, your club will contribute to pay immigration and customs to be present 24 hours, 7 days a week. A bill will be provided to your club or your association for your yacht members and powerboat owners, so that when they step off, the customs and immigration can examine their boats to make sure we're not moving contraband around. This is reality. Within the first 5 years, we are going to move the Port of Spain away from Port of Spain. 90%, if not more, of all container traffic coming off the port leaves Port of Spain and just creates traffic on Wrightson Road for no reason. We intend to create a facility 10 times the size in Point Lisas, so that we can offload Dana Antrobus. That may be the price now, but that won't be the price then. When we remove all duties, all taxes, all charges on building materials, we will set prices, and if the suppliers cannot accommodate those prices, we will open the market to international competition and drive the price of basic building material through the floor. The government will use the weight of the state to compete with private enterprise to make sure within the first 5 years that a massive construction boom takes place in this country for single dwelling starter homes for families. And yes, to the people who are asking where all that land will come from, the same way that Movitown and Bayside Towers and Grand Bazaar sitting on state land today, we will make sure that, like Peaks, the average small person has access to their inheritance. Right to a home will be enshrined. So every creed and race will have an equal homestead place. Moving the port out of Port of Spain serves two purposes. It gets it removes the additional traffic on Wrightson Road, but more importantly, it gives us the opportunity to unstuff all containers. Now, when we say a facility 10 times the size, we plan to compete internationally as a shipping zone. So half of our port is just transshipment. Transshipment is massive, massive money. It is what underpins Dubai and Singapore's economies, and we are going to play at that level. We in spitting distance of North, Central, and South America, and we down the road from the Panama Canal. We are a perfect place, the only tropical island outside of the hurricane belt. Nobody could play it better than us. Within the first 5 years, we will become the dominant player in marine craft storage. We will remove costs and taxes. We will give support to anybody establishing marine craft storage facilities, so that we can become a massive player in that game and offer downstream services and employment in sales and engineering and boat building and repair. We must be a massive player in shipping and marine craft. We will make sure, so we touched on home ownership, water, education. Our public health system will be decentralized to the constituencies. Also, we will make sure that we establish in each of the 41 constituencies public health facilities open 24/7 that deals with all all that the casualty departments in the hospitals deal with now. Yeah, those are important issues. The police service will be revamped. We will, when we say revamped, under the Constituency Board of Supervisors plan, we will change the precinct model of the police service and again decentralize it to all 41 constituencies. We will institute something called internal affairs in Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and their responsibility would be to clean up. How long will the port take to build? I would say 2 years. 2 years max is a port. It's just most of a port is dredging, and you would see that in the Emirates they build whole islands dredging. The technology exists to pass and dredge where you need dredged in days, weeks, months. So you don't have to worry about that. Building the actual port is just pouring, is engineering, concrete, and machines, really. Machines that moves the containers on the port. So it's not going to be a long process. I was just talking about something and they asked me that question. The Constituency Board of Supervisors abolished local government, abolished regional health authority, abolished THA, abolished the police precinct model, replaced them with 41 constituency boards of supervisors, a supervisor for public works, a supervisor for public utilities, a supervisor for security, for education, and for public health. And those 5 supervisors will work together with the Member of Parliament to ensure that the annual budget for the development and maintenance of the needs of the constituency in those 5 critical areas are met. The budget will be allocated to the constituency. Central government will not decide and determine which bridge get built, which road get paved, which street get lights, which community center, which police station, which hospital. The central government will not determine that. The Constituency Board of Supervisors together with the Member of Parliament will. And that means that you will have control over the development of your constituency. And utilizing something called the Quality of Life Index, you will be able to determine things like traffic, crime, poverty, jobs in your constituency, ease of owning homes, children in schools, all of that. We have the best schools, we have the best roads, we have the best public health center. Come and invest in Grandy. Come and invest in Toko. Come and invest in Orapuch. And people will look at those critical data numbers that we have no access to now because nobody tracking nothing. In the first 5 years, we will work with the 41,000 existing farmers and establish proper data-driven food independence targets. 1, 3, 5, 7-year goals. We will make sure that in quick time, the people of this country can have affordable food, affordable home, water in their taps 24/7, proper education for their children, security for when they're in their bed at night, and public health in case of emergency. Those things, non-negotiable. We will move heaven and earth to put those things in place. To give you the security we need, we decentralize the police precinct models to the 41 constituencies, but we're securing the nation's borders with the maritime security wall. And we're removing the containers, we're unstuffing the containers on the port, so the 50% of the containers that coming off the port without being checked, that done, that thing in the past. So no more guns and drugs and human trafficking, and done, lock it down tight, tight. And then we will go after we've done these things. That's called housekeeping. We've made sure all of our people who want a job could get a job, and who have a job and want a home could own a home. We've done the housekeeping. Now we're going after the big things. Because the big things we want to go after are the corrupt people in the society. We want back our money. We will start from the very start, from day one. We're going back from now all the way back to September 1st, 1962. We want to know every project, every contract, every dollar that was spent of the $3 trillion, where it went and how. I don't care if you're dead and 2 generations dead. If it passed through the inheritance and they have a continuing conspiracy to defraud Trinidad and Tobago, we're coming for that money. We will shut down all those special purpose companies that the Patrick Manning government created to end run the transparency and accountability of a tenders board. We will shut down HDC, we will shut down EMBD, EFCL, Sport TT, Vencott, all of those companies gone. We will replace that with a vast, robust transparent tenders board that will publish all tenders awarded in this country, not JZR Holdings, all of the beneficial owners, shareholders, directors, and what that contract was. Every single instance of procurement from $1 up will be published in the Gazette. So you'll be able to know, like the budgets allocated for your constituency, you will know $20 million was budgeted to rehabilitate a main road. And if $1 more than that is spent, that is fraud. And if the exchequer write the check between the Minister of Finance, the exchequer, and the public works supervisor, between the three of them, somebody will have to answer for that. Will ticket price drop car? I think that we overtax our people right now. We have lazy governments who prefer to create fat police charges, I call it. You can't run down nobody, so you sit down like with a fishing rod and you catch the first one and you make your whole quota. The prices that we charge people for speeding tickets and for bad parking and all of that, that needs to come down. What needs to go up is the incentive for police to do their jobs. And we must make sure police have a vested interest in every example of law breaking in the country. They must be rewarded financially. The RECA model works because the RECA and the police have a vested interest in the job that's being done. We want that throughout the entire system. But people will say, Philip, you're creating an opportunity for corruption. Police will be giving people ticket. No. You can't, people will be given ticket wrongfully. No. You can't give wrongful tickets because a progressive empowerment party government will be instituting dashboard cams and body cams on all meter maids and police officers who have a ticket book. You want to contest it? You go to court and they play the film. A dashboard cam and a body cam has no, the officers wearing or using it have no access to the controls or the film. They can rewind, fast forward, stop or delete. They could block it. That's instant suspension. Instant suspension. And you will lose if you block it. If it is not clear, if the footage is not clear for the offense, you lose out on any chance of getting any commission, bonus, however you want to call it. But the purpose is to incentivize police to actually go above and beyond the call of duty. The Prime Minister, this Prime Minister, says there are 42,000 illegal guns in the country. Within the first 6 months when we shut down the nation's borders and no more guns could come in, no more guns could come into the country, we shut down the borders and no more guns could come into the country, we are going to institute for police officers only, because we're not encouraging bandits to benefit from 2 bites of the apple. For police officers only, a $2,000 per gun bonus. Every gun that you bring in to be reduced to metal, throwing it one time, we dismantling it, we breaking it, we throwing with the firing pin. Yeah, we could fire it and test the ballistics and record the ballistics that we destroyed this gun with this serial number and this is the ballistics. No problem. We can do that. That's not a problem. But we want to destroy the gun so it doesn't work itself back into the system, and we pay you your $2,000 one time. So if you're a police officer and you decide to go out and bring in 10 illegal guns for the week, you get extra $20,000. And I prefer my police officers flaunting big money that they're making, hard working, than trying to get additional funds on the low. We pay our police officers crap. That has to change. There are 3 people in our society that are under-respected that need to change. We need to pay them well, we need to make better working conditions for them, and we need to incentivize what they do. And that is our farmers, our teachers, and our police officers. And a progressive empowerment party government will do just that. We will make sure. But when I told you after housekeeping, we want to fix this nation and go after the corrupt. You can't go after the corrupt if our justice system is broken. Simultaneously, we will be fixing our justice system for criminal matters. We will make sure this is now law. We will write as law to guide everybody along the system that human rights and civil liberties are critical and will be enshrined as part of the Citizens' Bill of Rights that we plan to enshrine. and that if you arrest somebody, you have 24 hours to charge them or release. And if you think that you need to hold them, additionally, you have to apply to a judge in chambers, and you and the judge will answer for that if wrongdoing is exposed. 24 hours charge or release. 6 months from charge to prosecute or release. 5 years for criminal matters. Vernon de Lima said to me, that's too long. It should be shorter. I'm willing to work with Vernon on that because he is more knowledgeable about those matters. And it is people like Vernon de Lima we need to put that together and make that work. Judges will be responsible for case management. At the end of the term, judges who cannot properly manage cases and cases are collapsing for time, those judges will be repositioned somewhere else in society, and different persons elevated to the bench who understand the role and responsibility. It is not an assembly line, but justice delayed is justice denied. We need to fix our justice system. We need to clear the backlog. We need to put dedicated judges. We've done it before. We've done it. We've done it under CJ de Labastide. We cleared the entire backlog. We know how to do it. We will do it again. We need a better country at every step of the way. We need to ensure that all of the truisms that we hold, justice must not just be done but seen to be done. So you see how we put in dash cams and body cams on police officers. We're going to put cameras in the courtrooms. We must make sure that all our public officers, from the most junior to the most senior, understand that the most important person in Trinidad and Tobago is the citizen, the average citizen. And they should have access to information. They should have access to protection. Yeah? Going forward, from here, those policies are critical to the redevelopment of Trinidad and Tobago. If you remove all of the corrupt companies and replace them with the Transparent Procurement Tenders Board, if you make sure that we shut down the country to drugs, we need constitutional reform that enshrines, recall, and we've said from the start, our first act as a government would be to recall into law that you will be able to fire non-functional public officers elected to office on your vote if they do not do the job. Recall, referendum, which can be triggered by the citizenry. It will require a petition on matters of national importance. You can trigger a referendum and the government will have to respond to your petition by putting the referendum to a national vote. And if the referendum is won by the person who brought the referendum, it instructs the government who will actually do that job. Recall, referendum, campaign finance reform is mission critical to controlling the corruption in our country. We want to increase the amount of constituencies that exist from 41 to 101. There should be plenty more representation. We need to broaden it. But to make that functional and work for you, we must pass a law that separates the legislature, all of those people, from the executive, the cabinet. The people that do the actual job, the ministers, they cannot be MPs. They cannot be. All members of parliament will have two major responsibilities. Represent the people who voted them into office by keeping regular office hours and by serving on oversight committees. All senior cabinet members will require ratification from the entire house, and those important ministers are National Security, the Attorney General, and Finance. Those three critical to the operation of the country. Trinidad and Tobago needs one super ministry that is right now treated like the bastard child of the country, which is social development. Under a Progressive Empowerment Party government, social development will be transformed to social development and management. And when we say it will be a super ministry, it will have what we're going to have to consider a junior prime minister as the Minister of Social Development and Management. And that person, that minister, has with him or her a Minister of National Security, a Minister of Planning, and a Minister of Education. Those three are critical to the management, the development and management of the human resource in Trinidad and Tobago, and we must make sure that we pay attention to it every step of the way. That is a mini manifesto on its own to redevelop the people. All the housing policies and all these other policies you hear going to happen in that super ministry, and it needs to work and function seamlessly. That's why you put them together, so they don't come and meet in the noise of the cabinet trying to get there. We want them to be able to talk one to the other in quick time and move things. So we will break the classroom to the jail cell pipeline and make sure that all of our people have a chance to maximize their potential and have the life that they see on TV. Will we treat prosecuted politicians as treason? I can't find a better word for it. If you've betrayed the public trust, what will you do about street vending? Our vendors are a national asset, but unregulated vending is not good for nobody. So we need to create spaces for vendors to vend. We've discussed turning all the streets perpendicular to the north-south streets in Port of Spain. So there is Edward, St. Vincent, Abercrombie, Pembroke, Frederick, Charlotte, Henry, Charlotte. Those are the north-south streets. The streets that run perpendicular to them, Queen Street and all of those types of streets, we're talking about closing them to vehicular traffic so that you will go up and down. You will go to Park Street will be one way as it is now, Independence Square will be to the other way. So you will have to literally go up and down, but they will have stopping spaces, no obstruction to traffic. But there will be no traffic turning into and out of, no street, no traffic lights, because all the cross streets will become vendor zones for vending, and we will create facilities for the vendors and for the public, bathroom facilities, trash facilities, security, missing persons, all the things that you will get in a mall, you will get on those streets. At night, Independence Square, from Hyatt to Cipriani statue on both sides, we will work to encourage entrepreneurs in the food truck and entertainment industry to turn Port of Spain, Independence Square at night, to a hub. We have a promenade and we don't use it, with security and lights and bathroom facilities and space rented for $1 to poetry reading and Latin dancing, whatever you want for the whole promenade. Start it in Port of Spain and copy it in Chaguanas and San Fernando and anywhere else that need developing. The reality is all of these things, none of these things the other governments didn't have access to. They have access to all of this information. So it sounds, and people say that they've heard this before, and I tell you, I am very politically aware, and I am very politically connected, and I've been doing this for a long time, and nothing you heard me say tonight you could find in any political party's manifesto for the last 58 years. Not one of our suggestions have they ever even considered. All of our policies are people-centered, development-driven. The goal is to make Trinidad and Tobago functional and first world, and to make sure every one of our citizens have all the rights and all of the benefits of the other, to end the uneven play field, level it once and for all. So these were just some of those ideas that we in the Progressive Empowerment Party put forward as policies. So when you hear, even Anthony Defoe used to say, vote policy, this is what he means. Our policies are second to none. No other political party has the ability to even come to you and say these things. To hear Kamala take our national security policy about making the Army Homeland Security was almost laugh out loud to hear come out her mouth. And I can't wait to ask in a debate, ma'am, when did it cross your mind? Which of the videos did you see? Which of the 21 policies did you read? When did you get to realize, hey, the PEP knows what it's talking about? And if you think that we know what we're talking about, and our ideas are so sound that you want to steal it, if all you bring to the conversation is that you might have control of the Indian vote, that's not enough. That's not enough to run a country. And we showed that the last time you were in office. The UNC have been there twice. Both times. It wasn't the best time for the country. What do you propose for parking in Port of Spain? Port of Spain should be car-free. But, and I want you to understand this, we plan to rebuild we plan to remove all of the government offices from Port of Spain and build it at a city, a purpose-built city in the center of the island that we will work in tandem with developers and contractors and investors and anybody want to come and build a building and look at the master plan and say, I would like to invest in this piece of real estate here and I would like to build this there, because we will build a beautiful new city there. For that, take all the government offices out of Port of Spain, all of it, and put it in the center of the island so that all traffic to and from the actual commute is shortened. We have had 200,000 people spending hours in traffic to and from Port of Spain for too long. That shouldn't be. What do you think about building a bridge to drive to go to Tobago? I actually love the idea. We've said it over and over. We were the first to say it. We have engineering plans for it that I don't want to share here because they don't know how to do it. And they've been talking and trying to find out if it could be done, how would it be done? We spent more money on rentals and purchases of actual craft that should have been spent preparing for this. We could do joint venture with India or Brazil or China. Now all of this is a conversation based on the reality of a pre-coronavirus world. We don't know what the economy is going to look like after, and if big ticket items like this is going to attract investment. It might. People still have a lot of money sit down in banks that they're looking to invest. There's a lot of idle equipment, there are a lot of idle workers, and the human resource and the machinery resource required to build something like that is an investment that you have to think long term. It's like a 20-year investment that you do a joint venture. If you're doing a joint venture with China, Brazil, and India together to share the hurt, even America, China, Brazil, and India. So we're working with all four of those countries, and the cost of it is counted in billions of dollars, and we build it, the organization that did the financing, because we give them the opportunity to finance and build it. And for the first, however, once you crunch the numbers, the first 5-10 years, you could put a toll of $100. No, we don't want a rail system. We want people to be able to come and go. Trinidad is a car country, and no amount of things we put will stop that. Trinidadians like to own their cars, but we need to create actual roads that they could use that make sense, traffic management that makes sense. That road could have a toll, and that toll would generate hundreds of millions of dollars a month, and that money go to pay. So in the start, you have Trinidad gets 25% of the tolls, they get 75% of the tolls, and there will come a time in 10 years maybe it becomes 50-50, and then at the end of maybe 10 years down the road, it becomes 75 in Trinidad's favor, and they will perpetually own 25% for doing the work and giving us the investment. And that is a cash flow investment that a lot of big countries and big companies would like to invest in. So those kind of things. We could do more shows like this. I think we need one, let the past be the past, new day, new future, rail system. If we created anything like rail systems, you have to understand, people don't really need rail systems to do the long commute anymore. But if you're building this bridge, it may call for passengers who want to use a rail. You're building this, you might as well, and there's investment money, so if they opt it, they have high-speed rails now that will take you from Toco to Tobago in about 5 minutes. So all those are options that you could look at. It shouldn't cost us $500 million to study it though. Anyway, the negativity of the politics and all of the hate and the fight down need to be behind us now. We need to start looking at, I had to ask somebody, if you don't like me or another political leader personally, and judging your vote on that, and not looking at the country and what it is and what it has become, then you're actually robbing yourself. And we in Trinidad have a saying, cut off your nose to spite your face. Because if you're vexed with your face and you cut off your own nose, you lose twice. And that's what it means. Trinidad and Tobago, Derek Rodriguez says, you people have no COVID-19, the PNM crooks running games with you guys in TNT. Absolutely. But they've been running games for 58 years, so what's new? Yeah, I am absolutely delighted that people are understanding our water policy, and just the water policy. They're looking at the PNM and the UNC, trying to understand why they didn't do something as simple as this, instead of investing in insanity projects like the desalination plant that just robs the treasury and the people. When they look and they realize that we could have had water in our taps 24/7 years now, decades now. Anyway, with the first world going green, do we have plans to shift to renewable energy? Absolutely. I've actually met with renewable energy companies. I met with one of the biggest energy companies in the world. They're interested in coming here to do wind farms and wave dynamics and other things like that. Absolutely. I think that we should accelerate the fuel emission standards, the world standards, and tag it. We should be a world leader in that. Absolutely agree with you. And if you heard earlier, we plan to do something. We plan to propose an environmental bill of rights. If you buy a piece of land, you want to build on it, any tree over a certain age and over a certain size, you need permission to trim. You absolutely need a license to cut. And if you cut it, you have to replace it with a certain amount of other trees, and a certain amount of all land has to be retained for green space. Yeah? The truth of the matter remains, you're going to want somebody that could actually, you're going to want a party that could actually stand up to the contract mafia that has ruined this country, remove them from the picture, and put these policies in place. You need that. This country needs that. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, need that. Human Hunter said solar too. Absolutely. This guy who just put the car in space, he just put a rocket in space. Here, they have created a panel system that you could build your house, and your house generates electricity from the sun. So all of those things are important. We're not going to get there. We're not going to get some questions. You could stop the maxi to look at the map. Easy to take a wrong turn on a dark road. What the percent of the workforce are those things you wish to abolish, and what percent of voters would actually... What percent of the workforce are those things you want to abolish, and what percentage of voters would actually vote? Will they vote to lose their jobs? And I love that question. So let me say this again. Shutting down the regional corporations and shutting down the RHAs and the police precinct model and creating a constituency board of supervisors in all of the constituencies actually creates jobs. Shutting down the special purpose companies that use to enrun the system and engage in corruption, you could put a larger volume of people to work dealing with tenders and procurement sensibly and without corruption. You don't have to have it run like those things. So the government's job is to have 0%. The government's goal, jobs, will be job one. We plan to recall all ambassadors, shut down all high commissions except 5. All ambassadors, all ambassador residences, all ambassador offices, all high commissions, we are going to shut all down. They are a drain on this country and they serve no purpose. They were for a time before social media, the internet, and cell phones. You do not need it anymore. We need a permanent resident, a permanent representative in United Nations, European Union, Africa, Asia, and America. Those 5. And America is responsible for Canada, America, and all of South America, Central America, and the Caribbean. So they will have regional sub-offices if it is important in countries where we are doing big business. Because we don't just want to have clink glass offices for diplomats to play the ass. This is a real thing. And all 5 of our high commissioners will have 2 main responsibilities: to sell Trinidad business to the world and to bring foreign direct investment to Trinidad and Tobago. We have ambassadors and high commissioners outside there with no mission, with budgets to do what they like. It's like the presidency and other frills jobs in this country, where you get to live large and have no real responsibility to the daily lives of people of Trinidad and Tobago. Those things need to fix. We get Trinidad functional. Quick time. Quick time. People tell one another, you would believe, that this country, 5 years ago, we didn't have water. People say a lie. Seriously, we used to get up in the morning if you hear water falling in your tank. We used to have tanks. Every house had to have tanks in it. You lie. I'm serious. We would have tanks and pumps every house in the country. And if you hear water falling in the tank, even if it's 4 o'clock in the morning, you jump up and wash all the wares and wash all the clothes and flush all the toilets and mop the house, because you want to use the water that's in the tap before it fills the tank, because you don't know when next you get a tank full of water. Just to say that out loud, people hear that that's our reality in 2020 in a country that has as much water as we have, should tell you how we've treated our politics as a joke. It is 6 minutes past 12. We've been at this long. I want to say thank you to everybody who's been with me and all the people who've asked questions. I also have the world of WhatsApp questions now to answer as well. So the point of the show has to be that we could have a better country if we wanted. And I also want to close on issues that I started. I hope the Coast Guard people get incensed enough to prove me wrong and shut the nation's borders down. I hope the PEP members understand that I have not one bad feeling for Anthony Defoe, and I wish him well in all his future endeavors, and that I hope that everybody begins to wake up and stand up. Because if Americans are showing you how to stand up against injustice in the country and to demand that it be fixed, we could do that here too. Yeah? So let's get together. To all the people who are suddenly we're getting good donations, and we appreciate that. And yeah, going forward from here, until tomorrow,